What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNV Driver's Edition. And as you see, the wheels are off the Corvette, which means only one thing. We are about to get rid of Zeus. Yes, you heard me correctly. I am within 30 hours of leaving to go get my next vehicle, and Zeus will be gone. So today's video, just to share some information with you, I'm going to recap what the options are on the table to replace Zeus, and you tell me in the comments below what you think my next vehicle should be or what it will be, because I've already kind of made the decision. We're just heading out to go get it. And yeah, it's going to be a fun trip. So let's dive into this conversation. Okay, for those of you guys that are new to the channel, yes, I have a C8 Corvette named Zeus. I've had him for the last 4.5 years, and it is officially time to move on from him to go to get something else for the channel, to have fun with, to challenge my ownership. And yeah, let's see how creative I can be with the next vehicle. So with that said, I want to start out and sit there and say to you, if you've been with me for a while, you know I've looked at several vehicles. I even showcased several of them on the channel just to let you see where my mind was at. And I got some nice feedback from you all. So based off the price range I'm targeting, which is something under, I would say 88,000, but that can easily be said 90, but I'm trying to stay responsible here. So somewhere between 85, 88,000, let's rephrase that. Somewhere under 88,000 is what I really want to spend on my next vehicle. And this process has actually become quite interesting. So first off, many of you don't know, or maybe you do, I started this search out over a year ago looking at Range Rovers because I had made up my mind I was going to upgrade from Zeus to a Range Rover just to have an off-road vehicle or SUV and have some fun with an SUV. Well, as time progressed, we started to showcase several other videos on the channel. I moved that up to a Range Rover SVR. You actually saw me test drive this white one right here, and it was a beautiful vehicle. I actually thought long and hard about owning this vehicle. And so on the table, I guess we can say it's still a Range Rover SVR, because after that test drive, after I reflect and I think back to it, well, let's not spiral real quick, but I will sit there and say this. I had a family member stop by the house. They had a Mercedes-Benz AMG GLE 53, and that car sounded awesome. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And that thing moves. So that kind of pulled me back into the SUV market, which I long believed I had moved on from, but I realized how much I actually like SUVs. So because of that, it made me put the Range Rover SVR back on the table. And once I put the Range Rover SVR back on the table, I couldn't help but gravitate back to the Range Rover SV Autobiography. Now, the Range Rover SV Autobiography is a more luxurious version of the performance, tuned down a little bit from the SVR, but it's put in the big Range Rover. And I think that fits me. I'm not even going to lie to you. But like I said, we'll see. But moving away from the Range Rover, all that came to play because I went and looked at an Aston Martin DB11. The last Aston Martin DB11 I looked at was actually a car that sold rather quickly. But that does not mean the Aston Martin DB11 is off the table, because I've actually found another DB11, which I really do like, and I had to go out and take a look at it. But while at the Aston Martin dealership, what came up surprisingly is they brought an offer to me stating that I could get behind the wheels of an Aston Martin DBX 707. Yes, you heard me correctly. The DBX 707, and how this would be made possible, because my pockets aren't that deep, is I actually could go into a lease. They had a special program or promotion right now taking place that I have to jump on within the next 3 days if I'm going to make this decision, which means I have to put down 10%, which is somewhere between, depending on the model I'm looking at, 18 to 20 grand. But surprisingly or not, they're willing to work with me on my trade and me to come out a couple of dollars. But the problem I have with it is a lease. And the car note technically goes up from my C8 by $75. So it's actually an interesting piece, which I did not think about, and it was brought to my lap. So I've really been pondering this option as well. Like, should I get a DBX 707? But I'll be completely honest with you. The problem I have with it is it's a lease. So the amount of money I'll be dumping into it over the next 36 months to walk away with nothing just doesn't seem right, because part of my goal for moving on from Zeus was to lower my car note as much as I possibly can to stack some money to move into a ridiculous purchase within the next 18 to 24 months. So for me to own this 707, which I'm not going to lie, it's a beautiful car. I test drove it and I really want to own it, but I'm trying to do a responsible thing. So we'll see how this plays out, because I found another one in another state that's a little bit cheaper, and they're talking about they can go get it if I want to make the move. So, but I'm like, why not just go to the other state and do the deal there? It's whatever. Moving right along, now we come up to the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTC. When I brought this car to the channel and discussed the reason why I think it's the perfect replacement for Zeus, I got a lot of pushback from Corvette owners and people that's been part of the channel for quite some time. I'm guessing you guys really don't like Mercedes, or you had a bad experience, or the rumors have actually gotten to you. Because a lot of the complaints, which I think is very interesting, is telling me I can't afford the maintenance on the car. That's surprising, because I'm pretty sure many of you don't know how much I pay on cars or how much I actually spend on maintenance on vehicles. So for you to say I can't afford a car, or this car is going to be too much for my pockets, it's kind of insulting. But I'll let people speak and get their opinions out, because honestly, a lot of times what I realize, especially being my age and going through life, is that people like to place on you the issues that they have, and they can't understand why your circumstances doesn't match their circumstances. So if you ask me, I really do like the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTC. I like it a lot. Matter of fact, it's probably the car I've test driven the most, because that's how impressed I was with it. And it just became down to me is to find the right car. So as of right now, we have the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTC on the table. So if you want to be realistic, for a quick recap, we have a Range Rover SVR on the table that's up for consideration. We have a Range Rover SV Autobiography that's on the table up for consideration. We have an Aston Martin DB11, which is on the table up for consideration. We also have an Aston Martin DBX 707 that's on the table and up for consideration. And of course, the highly controversial car that I brought to the channel, which is the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTC, which is also on the table and up for consideration. But the last car, which may surprise a lot of you, that's also on the table for consideration is, you guessed it, or maybe you didn't guess it, is actually a 2024 Chevy Corvette C8 E-Ray. Yes, you heard me correctly. A 2024 Chevy Corvette C8 E-Ray. Now, the reason why the E-Ray has actually made the cut is because the pricing offered on this car was 7,000 miles, well, technically 7,600 miles and some change. It falls below my threshold of what I would like to spend on a car. So I had to consider it. But my biggest concern with it is, and honestly, my last year of ownership with Zeus, is I've rarely driven with the top down, which I'm a huge convertible fan, but I just haven't driven with the top down. So looking at a coupe, which is definitely something I normally don't do, and I know if I get into this car, it's going to depreciate like a rock. So I have to make sure that this is a long-term purchase I'm willing to make, but I have two E-Rays on the table that I'm considering, and this decision is kind of tough for me, man. Now I know somebody's gonna say, why not a C8 Z06? And at this point in time, I just can't find a C8 Z06 that I want to invest in. Being honest with you, that's quite frankly under $90,000 without a ton of miles. So these are the cars that's on the table for me to replace Zeus. Which car do you actually believe I'm going to come home with? Not gonna lie, they're all great choices. They all have their own unique place in my heart and their space based off what they can do and the performance they bring to the table or the features they bring to the table. Like I told everyone before, I am a luxury car owner first. I like performance second. So as long as I can get some luxury with my performance, I'm 100% happy with any purchase of a car that I make. And I think these cars right now are some cars I really would like to get behind the wheel, spend a little money on modifying, making more unique and personalized to me, and having some fun with definitely for at least 18 to 24 months. So tell me in the comments below, what do you think my next ownership would be? What vehicle do you think will be sitting outside in the driveway? What vehicle do you think I am going to trade Zeus in on? We can talk about this a little later, but for all of you guys that felt like buying the C8 or the C8 is out of range, I'll just tell you this, I'm getting some great values for Zeus. I'm definitely going to dump him now because it just does not make sense to keep him any longer. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you guys for supporting me. I appreciate everything that you've done. And please stay tuned and hang on for the next adventure because I promise you we're going to have fun with what I bring home. So lock in. I'm going to be introducing a new car within the next 3 to 5 days. ICNV Driver's Edition. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver's Edition community. We're an interactive community, which means if you hit me up on any one of my social media platforms or in the comments below, I'll do my best to respond. And if the topic you bring up is interesting enough, I may even shoot a video on it. But don't forget, we're also a community of car enthusiasts that love to drive cars to make you turn your head, that aren't your everyday people movers. And I promise you my next vehicle will not be a normal everyday people mover. It's going to be unique and it's going to fit right in on this channel. But don't forget, we were all made in his image and given dominion over the world, which means we weren't just meant to be. So chase your dreams, build your visions, never ever give up, and embrace your own identity. It is okay to be unique. He's not done with you, and he's definitely not done with me. We were all given unique gifts to help us become the best version of us that we can possibly be. So step into your calling and become the blessing to the world that you were meant to be. Just remember to stay humble, stay focused, and stay blessed. And I'll see you in these streets and behind the wheel of my new vehicle. Peace.